Hello, everybody. Welcome to Pursuit of Relentless podcast. You have your host here, Alaina, and today I have a local Canadian in the house. Super excited about that. I have Ivan Fredette with me, and I'm excited for you guys to get access to him and see his story and how he's adapted his businesses throughout the years. Because sometimes when you start in business, you start one thing and then you try something else, and you just fall in love with that passion and just really embrace what that looks like. So for myself, starting out as a pastry chef and then going into heavy equipment operating and then now into financial advising and podcasting and being an author and like there's all these different avenues of our lives. But when you find that passion and you're like, "Oh, I get it now." There's just something else that clicks inside you and you just really ignite this new being that you can really step into. So I'm excited for you guys to get to meet Ivan. Welcome to the show.
Awesome. Thank you, Alaina. Yeah, that's pretty incredible. I forgot that it was a good reminder of the different avenues that you went and that you're a heavy equipment operator in Fort McMurray, I believe, right?
Yeah, very
Yeah, that's
different.
wild.
But you know what? Like this weekend, I was in Banff with my team, and seriously, I was just sitting there going, imagine if I was still a heavy equipment operator, like going through what I just went through, and just like imagine sitting on a haul truck for 12 hours a day, just like with your thoughts. Like that sounds absolutely torturous, actually. And I'm just like in these moments of gratitude when I promoted my first senior broker in the hardest month of my entire life. And I'm like, wow, what a crazy experience to be like, no, this is my story now. And like
Yeah.
watching him be able to give his speech and be on stage and share it with his team and get recognized and have a bunch of trophies and stuff. And I'm just like, man, wow, like so grateful for these incredible people who I'm in business with because they've just helped me realize what's possible and how much you can actually create when you're just continuing to push through, even when you're like struggling, even if you're not 100% and just going, okay, I'm going to show up today and like hope I don't break down or like whatever that looks like for them. But then like getting to celebrate with them and see them just walk across the stage and like share their stories. It was just really
Yeah.
humbling. And I'm just like, okay, this is it. Like, this is why I do this, is for the impact, right? And I know
Yeah.
you're in business as well to create a big impact for people. And I'm excited for you to tell your story.
Yeah. Where to start? I mean, I would like to start by saying thank you. I'm extremely grateful for having the opportunity to be here. This would be my first podcast discussing Ironclad Brotherhood. I've been on a few for my other industry, but this is great. And yeah, I'd like to say thank you.
Yeah, I'm happy to have you. I think you're going to do really big things. And I loved our conversation ahead of time. And I think that when you really step into that version of yourself, that you're like, no, I was put here to make a difference. And I may have built my business the way that I built my business and created the success for myself. But now I'm using it to help change people's lives and like really help them step into what's going to impact them. And I know that you've had a really rough year in your personal life and just like being able to step into this new version of yourself going, hey, I got through it and I was able to continue to grow in my business and continue to grow in my personal life, even through the turmoil. That's why I'm excited to write this book about loss and grief and overcoming trauma and just like becoming our best self. And I just got to interview Allison Lauder. Oh my goodness. It was like a therapy session on the podcast, but I was like, I actually missed a meeting. So I was like, I can't stop. I'm like, I just
Yeah.
want to keep talking to this woman. And like, she's so incredible and just like helping me work through some of the emotions that I've been experiencing. And it was really powerful, just the way that she was able to explain, like, hey, this is why you're dealing with it this way. And think of it in this way instead of in this way, and just helping you rewire your brain so that you're thinking of the positives instead of being stuck in that darkness. So my book's going to be called Navigating Through the Darkness,
Yeah, that's incredible.
which I think will be really powerful and just help a lot of people. So
Yeah.
yeah, Ironclad Brotherhood is going to be just epic.
Yeah, so I think to give your listeners a bit of context to what we're talking about is, I started off, I've been an arborist. I've climbed trees for the last 17 years or so. And for me, I got to see kind of every part of the industry, and I discovered quickly that I'm an entrepreneur like
Yeah.
yourself. People like us really kind of struggle working for other people.
Mhm.
And it was just a passion of mine. And I was given an opportunity to start my own business. And so I did. Took the leap. I worked for Hydro One, which is the biggest utility company in Canada, and left that union, good wages, to basically struggle for the rest of my life and put myself in hardship. But I love that because I know that comfort and growth cannot coexist. So it's been a real awesome journey for me. And then here we are now. So,
Right? Yeah,
sorry.
so crazy to just see how far you can come. And like everyone told me, oh, Alaina, like go work in the oil sands. It's going to be awesome. And then I was like, that was not what I wanted. But you know what? Like I met my
Yeah.
husband there, and everyone's like, oh, you guys must have met in BC. And I was like, nope, met in a mine in Fort McMurray, like just
Yeah.
super random. And then it's like, okay,
Yeah.
well, if that never happened for me, I would have never met my husband. I would never be living in Port Alberni. I'd never be able to, like create this incredible life for myself because if I didn't meet him, it would have been so different. And now I wouldn't be back on the island and like living my dream life. And I'd still be stuck there in this job
Yeah.
I hate because I wanted the money. But it took my first $10,000 paycheck to really solidify the fact that money really wasn't that motivating for me.
Yeah.
And it was the impact side of thing that I really wanted to accomplish. And I knew I couldn't do that as a heavy equipment operator. Like you can
Yeah.
only deal with so many grumpy people all day, every day until they really start getting at your mindset. So,
Yeah. And like for me, I was in a union. It was what most people think of as winning.
right.
That's getting it. And I
Yeah.
was more miserable than I've ever been. So when I was young, I had a loss. My cousin, he was my best friend. We were brothers. He lived with me. We were tight. We were both 17 at the time. And just before my 18th birthday, I got the news that he took his life. And there was no mentor. I didn't have anybody to kind of show me how to be a man. My dad was not as supportive, emotionally supportive as what I think I needed.
Mhm.
And, I went through my 20s and early 30s really kind of lost. And I was very easily distracted. And I was a really heavy drinker, extremely heavy drinker daily. I would drink
Mhm.
daily. And, when I found myself in this atmosphere in the union, it was really bad. I got up to 240 pounds, 5'11". So it was real big for me. And I thought that the change I needed was to leave there. And it was one of the changes I needed to, for sure, was to be an entrepreneur. So I started Safetree, where we started in March of 2015. I took that leap and we've been able to build it to, we're almost at 2 million in revenue right now, which is great for starting out with a pickup truck, basically. We're a
Mhm.
staff of 16. And so Tyler died January 26th, 2003. And that entire time, I lived as a victim. Alaina, everything was happening to me. I blamed everything on somebody else or something else. And when business didn't go right, even when I was at Hydro, it was, it's always somebody else's fault. It's always an external problem.
Yeah.
And then December 26th, 2020, that was COVID was going crazy. We were just in the start of it and it was bonkers. We were watching things on the news I've never seen before. My son was born, our third child, on January 25th. And I was drunk the day my son was born. I was basically drunk every day. I'd work all day. And as soon as I got back to the shop, we'd open beers. And it was that kind of life. And December 26th, 2020, I woke up that morning, Boxing Day, hungover. And I woke up to the sound of cartoons. And when I came out of my bedroom, my daughter, she was 5 at that time, Jessica, she's sitting on the couch watching cartoons. And I looked at her and I wondered, did Jessica know who I was? Like, does she know the real me? I wake up in the morning, I leave for work before anybody else is up, as long as I'm not too hungover, or I would just hide in my bedroom until everybody else was gone and then I would sneak out. And then by the time I got home, I was 6, 8 beers deep, and then I would have half a bottle or an entire bottle of wine with dinner. And this thought just consumed me. Does Jessica know the real me? And I go into the bathroom and I brush my teeth in the shower because I can't face myself in the mirror. I brushed my teeth in the shower for probably 4 years. I hated mirrors, wouldn't go near them. I just hated the person that I was looking at. And that paradigm shift, that thought changed my life forever. I decided right there that enough is enough. And I wasn't going to be the man that I wanted to be if I continued living that way. And I wanted my kids to, one, grow up with a real father, two, somebody who is emotionally supportive and emotionally present
Yeah.
and alive.
Mhm.
There's a lot of days where I go out in the morning, the headlights on my truck were still on and door open. I'm very fortunate to get to where I am. And with that decision, that changed everything. Not 3 months later, things started to happen. I started to read, I started to seek out people in our space and kind of look what people were doing. And I was really kind of searching for this mentor. And without one, I kind of just developed my own. So reading books and podcasts, guys like Andy Frisella and Ed Milet and Bedros Keuilian, Tony Robbins. I took a little bit from everybody and almost built my own system. And I followed this system diligently. We ended up getting a new shop. I discovered EOS and changed the operating system in our company. And we went from 600,000 to 1.6 million in 3 years. And all
Wow.
of these things just started happening. And it was great. And I built what I called Armour. And I can tell you a little bit about Armour later, but I built this system and it worked. I tried AA at first, but every time I would go there or try to go there, it felt like a therapy session, and it was like I always had to say, I am an alcoholic. And I'm a big believer that anytime you attach I am to something, it's self-fulfilling.
Yeah.
So I couldn't escape this alcohol mentality or this identity that I had given myself. I couldn't escape it doing that. And then you had to apologize to people, and it was a sickness and all of these things. And AA worked wonders for a lot of people. It did for my sister for 6 years. But for me, it just didn't work. And for me, it was choices. It was all about choices, and I needed to take responsibility for this. It wasn't because of any external factor, such as a sickness or anything. It had to be mine. And 3 years went on, and life was great. 2023 was a struggle. 2023 for SafeTree was the first year in our red. We were still sitting at high revenue, but we were in a loss. We had a big high turnover, and we were really trying to figure out our culture. And I had to put down one of my best buddies, Jax, so my dog. I had him for 12 years, Great Pyrenees. He was awesome. And then November hit. So November 26th. So the 26th for me is
It's a big day.
it's a big day.
Yeah.
So November 26th, I got a text message from my sister saying, I just wanted to tell you that I love you. And right away, bad feeling. And then my mom calls me and she said, Did Genevieve call you? And I said, No, she sent me a text message. She just called me and said, I love you, and then hung up. And I talked to my sister the day before, and she told me about some of the struggles she was going through. And then I'm on video call with my mom, and I'm watching her. She's panicking, and the phone rings on her other phone from my sister's husband, who was in rehab at the time. One of the reasons that she was struggling. And he said, She's gone. Genevieve just shot herself. And then, sorry.
Yeah. No, man, it's hard.
Yeah.
Like
So,
dealing with loss it's a whole nother level. Like
yeah.
I
But
feel you.
watching my mom on that video fell to her knees, and that was like my whole world changed. Tyler was important to me, but my sister was a whole other level. She's my only sibling. And yeah, they were in Texas, both my sister and my mom. So I got on a plane the next day and flew down there to find out that her husband was relapsed and he was doing drugs. I don't know if it was crack or methamphetamine. I believe it was meth. And he was absent. And we tried for took us, I think, 10 days total to track him down to sign papers so we could release her body. And it was awful. But in this experience, Alaina, what I had realized is in that hotel the days after my sister took her life, I'm up in the morning, I'm down in the gym, I'm going to my mom's hotel or her room, I'm waking her up saying, Let's go. We've got work to do. Let's get at it. And my mom said something to me, and she said, I can't believe how strong you are. You're ready to go every day and you're on a mission, and can't remember what the exact words are. And then I realized what I had built over the last 3 years. If my sister would have taken her life before December 26th of 2020, I'd have drank myself to death,
Yeah.
and I would have left my children fatherless. So 1 month later, December 26th, 2023, I decided that I was going to put myself out there and I started Ironclad Brotherhood. And what Ironclad Brotherhood is basically the program that I had built for myself. I had documented it over the last 3 years, not even knowing. And I decided that I'm going to give it to other men and start a brotherhood, a community where we can turn average men into leaders through sobriety and resilience. And, we're a little over a month in now and gaining a lot of traction. And man, I've had wives message me that I've never met saying, I think you just saved my husband's life. And I'm going, all I did was post some videos.
Yeah.
So
And I
yeah,
think that
we're
it takes, literally, is all it takes is you giving someone the permission to feel their emotions. And especially in men, men are taught to like, oh, no, that didn't
yeah,
phase me. And like, you can't show up in this certain way because you've got to be the rock and you have to be strong and you're not supposed to have emotions. Well, if you don't process those emotions, that ain't good, right? And you're going to bottle stuff up and you're going to avoid it and you're going to just struggle with it for your entire life because you haven't actually gone through those emotions. So being
you
able to
know,
develop your armor, like you're talking about,
yeah,
and develop a program that works for you is seriously, it's so powerful. And I don't think that people really understand how much their daily habits can impact their mentality until they're in a situation like that. Like for myself, okay, what can I do to overcome these emotions I'm feeling when I'm like trying to set my goals for this year and I'm struggling so hard because I'm like, well, my plan was to be a mom, and like I was going to take the year off and just like hang out and chill and be a mom. Well,
yeah,
reality strikes. Can I change it? Nope, can't change it. So what can I do about it is I can look for the positives in things like the fact that my body knows what it's doing and like the fact that I have such a great support system and an incredible business and a cool podcast where I get to interview people and like learn and grow and develop and give back. And I'm like, I can sit here and be the victim or I can sit here and thrive. But there's a lot of people out there that are struggling with loss. They're struggling with just things about themselves that they don't feel like they can express. And I think in a program like yours, people will really be able to open up, especially because it'll be a group of men. I know when I'm talking to women, it's totally different because like men don't really understand hormones, like you don't
hmm
have the same hormones as we do, but you understand testosterone and you understand
yeah,
that need to be showing up as the rock and being that driver of success. And like even how you were for your mom there, like my mom came to me and was just like, Alaina, I've been laying on the couch for a month. Like I haven't been able to get out of bed type thing because of your loss. And I'm like, well, that's shit. Like I don't want you to go through that,
yeah,
like how do I help you navigate through those emotions and like feeling like you've lost something too? Well, you did, but so did I, and I'm not doing that. So
yeah,
everyone deals with things differently. But if you've got those routines like going out into the forest, reading good books, looking to your mentorship and your habits to help you pull yourself out of those places, oh man, I don't know what I'd do without my team. I don't know what I'd do without the support systems that I have around me and the things that I've built into my natural daily habits, like having a clean house, or like
yeah,
organizing my office or like being good with my schedule. If I didn't have those things, I'd probably still be in a very different mentality.
yeah. I found that especially with men, I love what you said. So what I found was a couple things. The biggest thing for me was men need purpose.
Yeah.
Men need purpose. Men, we're like dogs. Let me explain. Men are like dogs. And I noticed this, my dog Jax, that meant so much to me. He was a Great Pyrenees. So at our old house, we had, it was about half an acre. He had nowhere to go. Great Pyrenees need lots of land. They need to protect. They need a herd to protect. There were so many people coming and going. I had this big shop, and my place was like garage doors open, beers flowing. It was just this place to party and just have fun. All of these people coming and going. There was no real threat. And Jax would chew shoes. He would chew anybody's shoes when no one was around, and he would dig holes. This dog, I'm telling you, Alaina, he would dig holes that you could put a golf cart in.
No
Like
way.
he would dig himself some serious holes. And we moved to the new house, and we've got some land. We've got a little over 10 acres now. And to the north of us, there's hundreds of acres with nothing there. And there's coyotes like crazy. So at the old house, I thought my dog's voice box was broken. He didn't bark. He never barked. Like I thought I got a broken Pyrenees. Not a week goes by moving to the new house. My dog starts barking. And he doesn't just start barking. He starts barking at anybody that comes in the driveway. He's barking all night long like this dog found his voice.
Oh,
He stopped digging holes. He
wow.
stopped chewing shoes. He's an outdoor dog. My dog found purpose. And when he found purpose, he found his voice and he stopped digging himself holes.
Mhm.
Men do the exact same thing. When we lack purpose, we have no voice, no confidence, and we dig ourselves holes. It was like this incredible moment that you just realize, wow, this guy just found purpose.
Mm.
And to find purpose, a lot of men just don't know where to go. They don't know where to start. And much like wolves, a lone wolf is not very successful, but when they're in packs, they can do a lot,
Mhm.
right? They can hunt together. They can, like, everything that we do, we need camaraderie.
Yeah.
And men just feel so alone. They feel like, even if they know that other men have issues, they feel like they're alone. They feel like they're different.
Mhm.
And we all feel this way. And a lot of men don't realize that life comes in seasons. You know, you have winning seasons and you have
Yeah.
losing seasons. We're in the same space and we get reminded of this all the time. And a lot of people just take it for granted that, when you're in a losing season, like a lot of men are, then the dominoes just start falling because you let one thing slip and then you let another thing slip. And then all of a sudden, you can't get out of this hole. But if they had somewhere to go and some mentor, I had no mentor. It was such a struggle. I had to build my own program. I want to be able to give mentorship to other men. They need somebody strong, somebody powerful to look up to show them the way.
Mhm.
I'm not going to do that for them. And this is what a lot of men got to realize is nobody's coming to save you.
No.
Like, this is not a therapy session. You got to do the work. You got to be an active participant of getting yourself out of this losing season, but they don't know where to start. And once you get into a winning season, we work on ourselves in that winning season so that we're one, less likely to go into a losing season. And two, when we do get into a losing season, we have the tools, the technique for structure and order and discipline to get us out of it faster and we don't fall as deep. So it's really taking those ebbs and flows, those highs and lows, and evening it out.
Mm.
And most men just don't know how to do that. They don't know where to go. And when I say armor, what we do in Ironclad is we operate off of a set of core values. So early in my journey of quitting drinking, I discovered what core values actually were. I never knew, like, core values was just this thing that companies would say.
Yeah, it's a hype word.
And yeah. And then I started reading more and learning more. And then I started thinking, like, what means the most to me? So, with my core values, I also needed things in my life to focus those core values on pillars. So, that's what armor is. So, armor is aspirations, revenue, muscle, oneness, and relationships. Armor. And I knew that if I focused on each one of these five pillars using my core values, which is learn, is lead through action, evolve to greatness, accountability to oneself, resilience in the face of adversity, and no surrender. So if I used learn to build armor, I knew that in these low times, I would be able to catapult out of them and focus on all of the things that really meant something to me. The needle movers. You hear everybody talk about needle movers. That is armor. And then when I'm in these high seasons, we do what we call sharpen the axe. I'm a Viking. So for me, the axe is a tool or a weapon you can use in the garden or in the battlefield.
Yeah.
And we sharpen the axe, and that is really focusing on the 5 pillars of armor and just sharpening them and becoming better continuously. Always, like Ed says, moving the thermostat, changing your temperature in the thermostat.
Hmm.
You don't want to just stay at 72 degrees forever. You want to keep moving that temperature up because
Yeah.
life's going to throw you curveballs.
Yeah.
You're going to get a losing season no matter what. Why create your own? Somebody will die.
Yeah.
Somebody will die. Somebody's going to get in an accident. You might lose all of your money. The stock market might crash. Who knows? These losing seasons are inevitable.
Yeah.
The trick is learning how to manage them and steer your way through them and get out of them. So, what I've done basically, and I didn't realize until I hit a major losing season. I'm currently in a losing season right now. Our business isn't out of the red yet. My sister has been gone for a little over 2 months. My mom is falling apart. Our family is falling apart. But I refuse to let myself fall into that trap. Right now, I'm doubling down. December 27th or 28th, I think, I started 75 hard. Well, I'm
Yeah.
47 days in now.
Wow.
Double down. For me, it was adding a second workout to the day. I was already doing everything else, but there's really that true meaning and that true purpose now. And with Ironclad Brotherhood, I feel like I've really found my true calling to share this with other men and show them that there's more than just AA.
Yeah. I
There's
think
more
that's
than
so powerful.
there's more than being a victim.
Yeah.
We can take these men and we can turn them into warriors, right? It's not,
And like
men
help
don't
them
want to
unleash
admit.
their warrior, like
Exactly.
'cause it's in there. They just hide it sometimes because they don't feel like they can express it or like that it's not
Yeah.
the right time for them to express it. And same with women, like so many women they're dominating in their area, whatever that is, whether they're rocking a business world or they're an amazing stay-at-home mom, like there's so many people that are like, oh, well, I'm just this, or I'm just right, the identification with that thing. I'm an alcoholic, right? It's identifying as that, but what you're so many other things too, and like you don't have to just identify as one thing, and you don't have to identify as that thing at all either.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to say, well, I'm an alcoholic. Well, you could say I was an alcoholic, you know,
Yeah.
and then move on from that because I'm a different person today than I am tomorrow, or I'm a different person today than I was yesterday, right?
Yeah.
And that
I
brings
love
so much power.
I love what Tony Robbins says. He says, if I was, are you a smoker?
No.
No. So if I used to smoke, I smoked for 20 years. If somebody comes up to me and says, "Hey, do you want a cigarette?" I'm not going to say, "Well, what brand is it?" I'm going to say, "No,
Right.
I'm not a smoker."
Yeah.
It's what you identify yourself. It is self-fulfilling. And people don't understand that. It's what you tell yourself is what you are.
Yeah.
I tell myself every day, I am a millionaire.
Yeah.
I haven't hit that yet, but I'll tell you 100% I will be
Yeah.
one day. It's what you tell, and it's your RAS. And again, Ed talks about this all the time, your
So
reticular
good.
activating system.
Yeah.
It's the same reason you're driving down the road and your brain is taking in millions and millions of things all at once, and you don't notice any of them except that cat that runs across the street, right? So the more you tell yourself these things, the more your brain is going to seek out the opportunities in order to get you where you need to be.
Hmm.
And if you say, I am an alcoholic, well, guess what? It's just a matter of time before you relapse, fall into that trap because you've been telling yourself this entire time.
Yeah. No, it's so powerful. And
Right.
even today, like going for a walk this morning, I was like, oh man, I'm just like, oh, I gotta get to the office, or like I'm just like in this stress mode, right? I'm like, I gotta go to work and I have so many emails because I'm catching up from the weekend. And then I went for a walk and I was like,
Yeah.
I don't need to do any of those things right now, right? All I need to do is focus on my health because I want to attract health to my life because I've put on a bunch of weight. And guess what? This weekend kind of sucked because I had 4 or 5 people come up to me and be like, oh, I heard you're pregnant. And I'm like, no, just fat still, like, So it's really frustrating because I'm like, I don't want to look pregnant anymore. I want to feel healthy. I want to feel good. And
Yeah.
can I control what my body's doing? No, but I can try, you know,
Yeah.
like I can try and just put myself in better situations where I went and picked up the supplements I was out of yesterday and I was able to meal prep for myself and make sure that I'm eating gluten-free and dairy-free and like just taking care of my body in the ways that I need to in order to create the impact that I want to create on my body. Because I'm like, okay, am I where I want to be? Nope. Right. But what am I going to do about it? Right. Am I going to start doing 75 hard again? Probably, because
Yeah.
when I'm in those low places, that is my automatic stress response that I need to do to pick myself up out of it. And like after my third miscarriage, I finished the Live Hard program because I was like, you know what? What can I do to take my power back? Because I felt powerless and I just felt so defeated and like frustrated with the whole situation that I was just like, I gotta do something. Like I was just not
Yeah.
okay. Right. And I'm like, okay, it's okay to not be okay, but it's not okay to stay there. You know? So I was like, okay, what can I do to take my power back? And I was like, I can finish Live Hard. And then I'm like, that's my fucking story. You know, like I finished it and I did it and I accomplished it. And that to me tells me that I'm a fucking champion. And like when you have that belief in yourself that you're a winner and you're going out and you're doing the work and you're putting in the time and continuing to push yourself, nobody can tell you that you're not, because you know in your heart that that's that version of yourself, that inner beast, like that beast mode is what I call it.
Yeah.
Andy calls it the like submissing the bitch voice, right? That
Yeah.
bitch voice is there and it's gonna yell at you and it's gonna tell you that you should just lay on the couch. And if you just lay on the couch, well, you're submitting to that bitch voice. Or
Yep.
you can unleash that warrior side of yourself and just go, hey, I know I'm better than this. And I'm going to do everything that I can in my power to just let that version of myself, the winner, you know, that person that's in there come out and shine, because then you're just feeling better, you're looking better, you're producing better in business, you're a better partner to your spouse, you're, you know, better to your friends. Like, oh, this morning I was like, okay, yes, I'm at home and I'm like cleaning my house and stuff. And I was feeling guilty because I'm like, man, I just really like having this guilt emotion sometimes. And it's weird that I was like owning the fact that I'm like thinking about the fact that I'm feeling guilty for not, you know, being at work and stuff. And then I'm like, what can I do
Yeah.
with this? I got on the phone, you know, like start making
Yeah.
calls. And yes, I'm packing the dishwasher and doing my wifey duties, right? But I'm also taking that opportunity to not waste time, you know? So when I'm walking, I'm listening to a podcast, or I'm really like getting into my body where I'm focusing on like my breathing and I'm focusing on being present in nature and like connecting with my dog, you know, like little things like that. Like you said, they have a purpose. Well, her purpose is to stay close to me
Yeah.
so that I
Yeah.
don't get attacked by bears, or like your
It's
dog, like not getting attacked by coyotes, right?
and every breed has its own purpose. Golden retriever, its purpose is to retrieve.
Yeah,
A German
Rottweilers are
shepherd.
herding dogs.
Yeah, a German shepherd is meant to shepherd. A
Yeah,
Great Pyrenees is meant to protect its herd, my family, me, my family. That's his herd. That's what he was meant to protect, and he didn't have this sense of purpose. But I love what you said about, winning in confidence and building confidence. It's all about small wins.
mhm.
It's what you do every single day. It's waking up and not hitting the snooze button. It's doing all of these little things. And if I was to lie to you every single day, would you have confidence in me?
No,
Then why does everybody do that to themselves? They
right.
tell themselves, I'm going to get to the gym and I'm going to bring the fucking heat. And then you get there and it's like, well, whatever. Well, you just had a loss.
Yeah, you
You
cheated
just lied
yourself.
to yourself.
Yeah,
When you say, I'm going to wake up tomorrow at 4 a.m. and I'm going to get at it. You wake up, you hit the snooze, 4:30 comes along, you kind of mope around. You lied to yourself. You
and you know it.
cannot, you cannot, your subconscious knows it. Even
Yeah,
if you are denying it or you don't want to acknowledge it, your self-conscious knows exactly what you did. It knows exactly, you cannot lie to it. And then you get these small wins. If you get win after win after win, you build this rapport with yourself. You build this rapport with your subconscious. You gain the confidence that you need. And from there, it just grows. It grows bigger. And you're moving that needle and you're setting higher standards every single day. And then you get to this point where it's like you let it slip a little bit. And then your
Hate
boss
it.
voice is
Yeah.
like, you bitch,
Yeah.
you, right? And then you got your bitch voice, you got your boss voice. But when you're in these losing seasons and you have loss after loss after loss, the bitch voice is taking over, and it's like you're telling yourself it's okay. You worked really hard last week. It's okay to take this break. You deserve it. It's only one cookie, and then oh, it's only one more, and it builds day after day and excuse after excuse, and then next thing you know, you've got no confidence. We have to move forward on certain things in our life. And this is what Ironclad Brotherhood is all about. And it's no different from women. It just happens to be that I'm a man and I know men better. But I hope one day there's an Ironclad sisterhood. I really
Yeah.
do.
Right?
But it's all about learning how to stack these wins day in, day out, time after time, using your core values, true core values. And if men don't know their values, if they don't know, they can learn mine. They're very easy, and they're great. They're all powerful weapons. But all of these little small wins, if we focus them in on the 5 pillars of armor, if we focus them on the main things in our life that we need, like aspirations, if we set goals, if we know where we're going,
Mhm.
if you follow a map without a destination, it's just a series of lines in all kinds of directions. You have to have aspirations. You have to know where you're going. Your revenue. Everybody says, not everybody, a lot of people say, well, it's not about money. Well, God damn it, I'll tell you, I need money to eat the way I want to eat. The
Yeah.
shit at the grocery store, I have to buy it right now because I am not where I want to be. But I'm looking at it going, what the hell is this garbage that we're putting into our body? I want my family to have experiences that forget things. Yeah, I want a fancy car and I want all these other things, but I want my family to
Yeah.
experience things. I want trips out to Vancouver Island.
Yeah.
That's my favorite place. All
Yeah.
of these things. Muscle. It's not about getting jacked, but
Feeling strong.
feeling strong. It's, being athletic or working out is like it's like a gateway drug,
Yeah.
right? You start exercising. Exercise is a gateway drug. There you
Mhm.
go. It leads to other things. It's building those wins over and over. Oneness is the same as faith, right? It's being true to yourself, being true to your faith. What do you believe in? I've never been much of a religious person. My sister was incredibly religious. She couldn't miss going to church one Sunday. She would be devastated. And, it's what do you believe in? You've got to, it's this negative self-talk that we're always telling ourselves. You have to flip that switch and you have to have true belief in yourself and what you're doing and where you're
Mhm.
going. And then, of course, relationships. We can't do this alone. We need my relationships, every relationship in my life can improve.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter what level you're at, becoming more vulnerable with your loved ones and really taking the time to spend with them and understand them,
And even with yourself, like exploring yourself and your own
absolutely.
emotions and what you're capable of, right?
Yeah. Those 5 pillars, small wins every single day. I compare it to, I don't know if you got American friends or fans, it might be a little bit different, but for us, it's Celsius. I picture an ice cube on a table in a room at minus 35. Okay.
Mhm.
So minus 35, the ice cube's frozen. And you turn the thermostat up 1 degree, nothing happens. You turn it
Mhm.
up another degree, nothing happens. The ice cube still stays the same. The temperature's changing, but you don't see a physical difference. And then all of a sudden you get to 1 degree. Now all of a sudden the ice cube starts to melt. You
Mhm.
get to 2 degrees, it melts more. 3 degrees, melts more. It's the same effect. You're doing all of these little tiny wins every single day. All of a sudden, something happens. And then you keep doing that. And then it's a puddle and you plateau. Nothing happens. Nothing happens. Then you get to 100 degrees. Now shit starts to boil,
Yeah.
right? Now things are really happening. And then you get to, I can't remember the temperature, 117 or something. Then you get steam.
Mhm.
And then steam can power trains,
Right. Yeah. It's
all caused by little tiny winds moving that thermostat 1 degree at a time.
hmm I love that. Yeah, we have a 212 club, which is in Fahrenheit, but it's when water boils, right?
Yeah.
And it's when something actually starts to happen and you start creating that compound effect in your life. And Darren Hardy wrote a book called The Compound Effect, and it was one of the very first books that I ever read on entrepreneurship. And it changed my life because he talks about Big Mo, and Big Mo is momentum and building momentum in your life.
Yeah.
And once you've got it, you have to fight to keep it, but man, is it powerful. Like there's those feelings in your life that you want to keep, and then there's feelings that you don't want to have. And all of those things can create momentum. So if you're on a downward spiral, you're on a downward spiral. If
Yeah.
you're on an upward roller coaster, right? It's like you think about a roller coaster and it's just like bumping you forward the whole way, and then it's and then we're down again, and then we're up again,
Yeah.
and that's just
Yep.
life. Like you have to be prepared for those things, but what matters is how you react in those moments. It's how you are vulnerable with yourself and allowing yourself to heal and allowing yourself to feel your emotions and continue to progress even on the days when you don't feel like it, especially on the days that you don't feel like it.
Especially the days that is where your structure, order, and discipline come in and
Yeah.
save your ass.
Yeah. Well, and that's a lot of where I find accountability helps as well.
Yeah.
So a program like yours, where you're having that accountability with each other, is so powerful
Yeah.
because it's like I said, going to see my team last week or this weekend. Oh, it was just like so much love. And they're like, oh my God, like everyone's so excited to see me. And I'm like, I've just been hanging out on the island, just like in my own little world. But just going to see my people,
Yeah.
was just like so powerful for me. I feel recharged. I feel energized. I feel like I can go and take on what's next because I was able to sit with people who are like minded and people who want to see me win and encourage me to get better, not just to stay where I am. It's literally like, okay, well, what are you doing now? What's next? And just trying to find that next version of yourself is so important. So I
And
want
there's
to
and
get
there's
more access to you for sure. We're out of time for today,
okay.
unfortunately. I want
Yeah.
to keep going. I'm like, I have a
I
meeting
know
in
it's
2 minutes.
I
Like
didn't
I
even
could talk to you
realize
all
the
day.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But where can people get access to you and your programs and
Yeah. So
your social media too?
Ironclad Brotherhood across the board, Facebook. We have a private Facebook group. If somebody wants to get in there, just apply. As long as they follow the rules, they can come in. Biggest rule is no victims. It's not a place. If people want a therapy session, they should go to AA. If
Yeah.
people want to be held accountable and really grow into something great, then this is the place for them. We're just young. We're just starting out. Right now, everything is free content. Come in. We have accountability calls every Friday and Ironclad Brotherhood across the board, except for YouTube. It's I am ironclad.com, Ironclad Brotherhood, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all that fun stuff. And yeah, it's small, like I said, but it will be a movement. It will be a
Almighty.
movement.
Yeah, that's great, man. Well, I'm excited for people to reach out to you. And thank you again for sharing your story and putting your heart out there and just showing people
Yeah.
what it takes to move that needle, right? 1 degree at a time. And just being able to honor that in yourself, that you are still continuing to rise. I love that. So, again, thank you for your time today. And I know everyone got a ton of value. So, guys, we don't take money for advertisements. So, make sure that you're sharing the show with someone who can use this information and may need help in getting out of an addiction or something that they're struggling with or just becoming their best version of themselves. That's why we're called Pursuit of Relentless Podcast, right? It's just continuing to progress every single day towards that version of yourself that you know is possible. So, I hope
And Alaina,
that
I'd like to
you
just throw one more in there.
sure.
We are right now developing a new journal. So
Cool.
it'll be a custom journal, Ironclad Brotherhood journal, the only one. And it'll be a 75-day program where men can track their progress and really hone in on the 5 pillars of armor.
I love that. Yeah, and it takes a while to really like dig into those habits, but when you do it, a whole new version of you is
Life
unleashed.
changing.
And
Life
it
changing.
is life changing. It's when you, like I said, take your power back and you just go, no, I'm going to change. I'm going to do something different today than I did yesterday because I deserve greatness. And everyone on this show who's listening knows that that's what it's going to take, is to get out of that comfort zone and to go, okay, what am I doing today to, go out and change my life? And that's why they're here. They're listening to a podcast. They're putting themselves out there, learning and growing and developing. And yeah, it's just amazing. So, anyways, it is clearly beautiful outside with how much sun is coming in this window. So, I'm going to go get my vitamin D.
Jealous.
And yeah, thanks again for being here. Share the
Awesome.
show, guys.
Alaina, thank you so much. I'm very grateful.
Thank you. Pursuit of Relentless signing out.